This is the 9.3 guided practice. We're going to be doing the evens. So the first one here is a trapezoid, so we got to make sure that we know what our equations are. So for a trapezoid, you want to do base 1 plus base 2 times height, and then divide that by 2. So you look for this 90 degree right here, and you'll be able to find your height. And then this is obviously base 1, and this is base 2. So all I do is plug those into this equation. So you could do base 1 plus base 2 right away. I would just do 14 plus 8, and that's going to be 22. So I'm going to have 22 times my height, which is 5, divided by 2. 22 times 5 is 110. Divided by 2 is 55. And that would be your final answer. All right, so here we're going for a rhombus. Rhombuses and kites are very similar. It's the diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 divided by 2. So this would say be diagonal 1, and then this would be diagonal 2. It can be opposite, but as long as you know that there's 2 diagonals, that's all you need to know. So I would do 9 times 5 divided by 2, which is going to be 45 divided by 2, which is 22.5, but I think I may have done something wrong here. We will see. Hold on one second. And I immediately know what I did wrong. See, I just assumed that it's just so I assumed that all you need to do is the 9 times the 5. But what it's saying is if this is 9 right here, this line, that means this line right here is 9. And if this is 5, that means this is 5. So that's where it comes in to play. So what we would need to do is we have to add this entire diagonal right here. So that'd be 5 and 5. So that would be 10. And then times our second diagonal, so that'd be 9 plus 9, which would be 18, divided by 2. So 10 times 18 is 180. And we're going to divide that by 2, and we're going to get 90. For 6, if this is 11, that means this is 11. So this diagonal right here is going to be 11 plus 11, so that'd be 22. And then this other diagonal, if this is 17, lines here is going to be 17. So 17 plus 17 is 34. So we're going to multiply that by 34 and then divide by 2. So 22 times 34 is 748. Divided by 2 is 374. So your final answer would be 374 feet squared, obviously, because we're looking for the area. All right, so with kites here, that's where the diagonals aren't always even. So like for example, in 8, this one says that this is 8 and this is 8, and that's fine. But this is 9 and this is 9. I'm sorry, not 9. This top one's 9, this bottom one's 11. So the only thing that I really need to do, it's the same thing, but I'd want to add the diagonals before I would multiply. So for example, like this one is this is 8 and this is 8, so in my head I'm going to do 8 plus 8 is 16 times, and then if this is 9 and then this is 11, 9 plus 11 is 20, and then divided by 2. So 16 times 20 is 320, divided by 2 is 160. So that'd be 160 centimeters squared. All right, this one is telling me on number 10 here, a little hard to see, but if this is 4.5 feet, that means this is 4.5 feet. If I add those two together to make this entire diagonal, that's going to be 9. And then I have 2.5 feet and then 5 feet. So 5 plus 2.5 would be 7.5. And then divide that by 2. So 9 times 7.5 is equal to 67.5 divided by 2 would be 33, and I'm going to round it to the 10th, 0.8 feet squared. All right, going on to the next one where we're doing some, so 11 and 12 and 13 are all random, but cross off 12, that we don't need to do that one. For 14, I want to it's really self-explanatory. What this one is saying is AC, this whole thing right here, is 10, and BD is 17. So I'm going to do 10 times 17 divided by 2. This is just an easy way of, these two are already added up. So 10 times 17 is 170 divided by 2 is going to be 85. So that one would be 85 units squared, because we don't have nothing's marked, so we'd have to put units. Then for 16, this one is a little bit tricky, but we don't really know. Well, we know what this diagonal would be, right? So what we need to do is we need to find out what this diagonal is. So what we can do is we can take this 30 from the original, or from this diagonal right here, and we can split it up into 15 and 15. So by doing that, I then have, let me do this in a different color. I then have this side, and I have this side, so I can use Pythagorean theorem to find out what this diagonal is. So I would do 17 squared plus 15 squared is equal to c squared. So 17 squared is 289 plus 15 squared is 225. So 225 plus 289 is equal to 514. And then I need to take the square root of that to get what c is. And that would be 22.7, I believe. But let me check my answer here. Let me check here. That doesn't seem to be right, but we're going to look through it real quick. Okay, and I found out what I did wrong. So, what I did wrong was I labeled things wrong. So we're just looking for this diagonal right here, right? And we don't know what that is. So we have to realize that this right here, this line where the 17 is, that's the hypotenuse. So this would be where the 15 is would be a squared, so 15 squared, and then plus, what we don't know is this line right here, and that would be b squared, and that's going to equal 17 squared. So then 15 squared is 225, plus b squared is equal to 17 squared is 289. So I'm going to subtract 225 from each side, and I'm going to get b squared is equal to 64. So then I take the square roots of both, and I find out that b is equal to 8. So then, after finding that out, I know that each one of these this is 8 and this is 8. So now I have my original diagonal of 30, which is right here. So that would be 30 times, And then 8 plus 8 is 16 over 2. So 30 times 16 is equal to 480. I'm going to divide that by 2. And I'm going to get 240. That's going to be units squared. So again, make sure you know that the long edge is the hypotenuse. And that would be c squared. And that would go, where that would be a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we were solving for the b right there. And after we found what b was, we could then plug it in and then add those two up, and that becomes a diagonal. So that is all I have for you guys today. Remember, email me if you need anything, and I will talk to you later.